everyone, welcome to the new video. So this video is regarding Terraform. Last video, which we are going to cover the pending topics like condition, how to handle condition check, how to handle looping, and what is dynamic block. Okay. So without further ado, let's go. So what we will learn in this video is how if condition works in Terraform, how to use for loop, what dynamic blocks and why they exist, and real world examples you'll actually use. Okay. So Terraform if condition is not like a traditional if else block that we majorly see in programming languages. It's like a ternary operator in Java. Like it's a one line which we give a condition check. So we call it as a ternary operator in Java. We give a condition question mark. Then if condition is true, then what will be the true value? Or if it is false, then we'll go to the false value. So this is what how we do condition check in Terraform. Okay. So in real world example, if it is asked like if it is a dev environment, then the instance type should be T3 micro. But if it is a prod environment, then the instance type should be T3 large. Okay. So for handling these kind of situation, we use if condition in Terraform. So suppose variable environment is dev, we have taken dev. Now when we are defining a resource block, in instance type, we have defined the ternary operator or a condition statement that if var.environment is equal to prod, then it should go to T3 large. So it is a, if prod, the statement is true, then it should be T3 large. But if it is not prod, the statement is false, condition check is false, and it should go to T3 micro, because if it is not prod, then it will be dev. Okay. So example 2 is conditional resource. Like it is said that if a environment is prod, then only this resource should be created. If the environment is not prod, then the resource should not be created. So what we have to do in this condition, 1 means we will create the resource and 0 means we will not. So 1 is yes, 0 is no. So again the same thing, that if so how if we will see that we have to create AW3 S3 bucket. Okay, the count should be 1 if the var.environment is prod, else it should be 0. 0 means it won't be created. Okay. So this is how if the condition check, if you have if it is asked or if you have to actually use in your code, you can do it like this. Now this was about condition check. Now we have to go for looping in Terraform. So when we have to create resource like multiple resource but with different values. Okay, then we different value, or you can say name will be different or something will be different, same multiple values but some things will be different. So then we need to use for each or for expression. So basically for each and for expression are there for looping. So for each is, first thing is for each works on set variables. When we have discussed about variables, so it only works on set. If it is a list, if it's a tuple, it won't work. So there is a function toSet which convert the list into sets. So this is a variable where we have defined the Alice, Bob, different names. And when we are creating the AWS IAM user, so for each will be used. So for each, and we'll convert it to toSet var.users. So it is converting it variable to two sets, and then it is picking up one value. So in name it will be defined as each dot value. Okay, so the first value will come here Alice, then the second, then the third. So in this way we have to define. First in for each we have to take the variable, okay, as input, and then in whatever variable we need to pass, in whatever key we need to pass, we need to give it as each dot value. Second, the for expressions. The for expression is basically used like variable. It is basically used for mapping, like in for, if suppose, or transforming your output. It's like for port in var.ports, port is equal to, like, each port will be resulting in this. So if you want transforming your variables in certain format, then we use for. I hope looping and condition check is clear to every one of you. Then what are dynamic blocks? So dynamic blocks is little confusing, but you will get it clear. So here in for each, we are defining the same resource, okay? Only one value will be different, right? But here when we have to create multiple blocks, like when we create ingress, we have to create like ingress from port 80, we have to create ingress from, like, whatever ports, how many ports we have to give, that many blocks we have to define. So that is not what you say advisable to do, to write, to print multiple blocks. So when we want multiple blocks to be created, okay, so because when we are defining different ports, the ingress should be defined as a block, separate blocks. So in that case we use dynamic block. So we define variable, okay, so we have defined ingress as dynamic value, okay, because it was it we are dynamically defining the ingress. We are not giving different blocks for each port, but we have defined it in dynamic block, that for each var.ports, content will be like, the block will be created in a way that from port will be current dot value or ingress dot value, and to port will be ingress dot value. So one block will be created, one rule will be created for port 80 with this content, and one rule will be created for port 443 with this content. So when we have to create different blocks, Terraform doesn't allow us to do it, to do looping in a inside a block. So that's why dynamic comes into picture. Okay. So this is our example where we are combining if, for and dynamic real world example, and this I will give in description box too. Okay, that how we will combine both things, that dynamic block and how condition check is happening, that if HTTP is enabled, and how looping is also there. So this I will give in description box. So when to use what? If condition to enable disable values, count, conditionally create resources. How many resources? Like same kind of resources, but how many? For each, create multiple resources with different values. For expression to transform data, and dynamic to loop inside resource block. So this is, I hope the things are clear, and let me know your views or your queries if anything is not clear in the comment section. So yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know your views in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.